My name's Chris, and tonight I'll be talking to you about drunk driving. But before we get started, can I have 3 of you stand, please? Thank you. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, 2 out of 3 people will be affected by a drunk driving incident at some point in their lives. You guys can go ahead and take a seat. It's crazy to think that 67% of us will be involved in something this traumatic at some point in our lives. 67%. Over half of us will have to go through something that could change our lives forever. Tonight I'll be talking to you about drunk driving, and hopefully by the end of this presentation, we'll all be able to make smarter decisions before we decide to go behind the wheel and change our lives forever. Some of you might not be quite of the drinking age yet, but it's important to know these things so that in the future we can make smart decisions. There'll be 3 main points for tonight. We'll be talking about important statistics involving drunk driving. We'll be talking about impairment, and then lastly, we'll be talking about who's affected by this situation. In 2013, 28.7 million Americans admitted to getting behind the wheel while impaired from the effects of alcohol. 28.7 million. That number is far too high, and it's very significant. That's larger than the population of Texas, one of the bigger states in the United States. That's a lot of people. And the only people that can change that number is us. 27 people die from drunk driving incidents every single day, and that's a minimum. 27 people whose lives are changed forever because of one decision that could have been prevented. 27 people that don't get to go home to their families, to their loved ones. The saddest part of it all is that the age group that affects this the most is people aged 26 to 29. People who have just graduated college, started families, started their careers. They have their whole life ahead of them, and their lives are changed because of one bad decision. It's also important to know about impairment because there's a few common misconceptions involving alcohol that are worth mentioning. The first one being that just because you're drinking a certain type of alcohol, you won't get as impaired as if you're drinking another type of alcohol. And that's simply not true. Just because you're drinking beer doesn't mean you can become any less impaired than if you're drinking wine, vodka, gin. 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, and 1.5 ounces of spirits all contain the same amount of alcohol, and all can get you equally as impaired if consumed within a certain time period. It's important to know how many drinks you're drinking, how fast you've been drinking them, and when you'll be going home. Because the second common misconception is that you can have some home remedy to help you sober up faster. Just because you take a cold, long shower doesn't mean you'll sober up any faster. Just because you're drinking a ton of water doesn't mean you'll sober up any faster. Just because you drink coffee, stand on your head, whatever it may be, does not mean you'll sober up any faster. The only thing that can sober you up is time. So know when you had your last drink and know when you have to leave the party, the bar, your friend's house, because you're going to make a decision getting behind the wheel impaired that will change your life forever. The last thing we'll be talking about tonight is who's affected by this. There are 3 major groups, 2 which would seem obvious, 1 which I think is severely underthought of. The first group of individuals that's affected by something like this is going to be the people who decided to get behind the wheel while intoxicated. Those individuals could go to jail for what they've done. They could have to pay fines, lawsuits. They could injure themselves. They could injure those around them. And at worst, they can die. The second group of people affected by this are the people involved in the crash. Again, they can be injured. They could die. They could go through financial troubles because the other person may or may not have had insurance. And the last group of people affected by something like this is the most understated, in my opinion. The families of those affected. Parents who can never see their kids again because they died as a result of a drunk driving incident. Friends, brothers, sisters, who can never do the things they normally would do just because of one person's bad decisions. It's very sad to think of, and it's very important that we know these facts so we can change them. If there's one thing that you can take from this entire speech, I hope it's that drunk driving is a very serious subject and that it should not be taken lightly. Just remember, 2/3 of us have the potential to go through something this traumatic in our life. You can't sober up using some special home remedy, only time can, and only we can change these statistics. Thank you.